Let's dive deeper into AI planning because oftentimes this is going to be one of the most efficient ways of solving problems. The other really interesting thing about AI planning is sometimes it can come up with really unexpected good ideas that we can use and incorporate into our plan. So let's look at an example with AI planning. So as I'm filming this course, one of the things I've been doing is I've been creating tools to help me go and extract the transcripts from the videos and then try to use them to create different types of content that I can then go and expand and edit and work with. So I'm going to look at how I might use Code Interpreter to tackle this problem with AI planning. So here's the prompt that I'm going to use for Code Interpreter. I'm going to say, this is a transcript from a video that I just recorded. So I'm uploading a text file. I've used the Whisper model to extract the text in a transcript of a video that I created. And I'm going to say, this is a transcript of a video that I just recorded. Can you create a step-by-step plan for taking the transcription and rewriting it as a blog post and a series of social media posts? So I'm explicitly stating, here's what I want to get out of it. My goal is to get a blog post and a series of social media posts. How do we turn this conversational discussion into one that has clear paragraphs with topic sentences and supporting discussion, etc.? So one of the things I'm also doing in my plan, and this is a really important thing to know, is you really want to think about how you phrase the things that it needs to know when it's generating the plan, like the information, the problems that it should be aware of when it's formulating the plan. The more information about what's going to be tough or what are the important aspects of the problem that you want focused on, the better a plan you're going to get. So just like anything else that we're doing with Code Interpreter, we want to give it a lot of information, a lot of details about our goals, about the challenges, other things, so we can build an appropriate plan. And then I say, I want the blog post to be 10 to 15 paragraphs, so I'm providing additional constraints or information about what do I want to achieve with this plan. I want the social media post should be 1 to 2 paragraphs with exciting ChatGPT prompts that could go with them. So I'm asking it not only to do this, but I also want it to generate new information or ideas. So create a step-by-step plan for you to do this. So here I'm engaging with Code Interpreter. I've asked it now to go and build the plan, and I've given it the initial document to look at. So it goes through and it says, step 1, understanding the content. Step 2, identify key points and themes. Step 3, drafting the blog post. And you'll notice one of the other things it's doing, especially down in step 3, it's starting to break the problem down into subtasks. So I'll start with a compelling introduction. I'll then write the main body of the post. I'll end the post with a conclusion that wraps up. Then it's step 4, drafting the social media posts, and step 5, refine and polish. Now, one of the things that's really important just always to have in your mind with Code Interpreter is step-by-step is the most effective way. If you're doing the planning, you still want step-by-step, very explicit, clear, concrete instructions, and you're more likely to get a good result. Similarly, when the AI is building the plan, the more concrete and direct those actions can translate into something that it can do, the better off you're going to be. So when we have it planning, sometimes it's going to plan at a high level at the beginning, and we want to make sure that we iterate on that plan till we get something that, one, tells us enough about what it's going to do that we can be confident that its plan is going to succeed and we don't waste a lot of time while it tries to execute its plan. And 2, we want to make sure that it's able to interpret its own plan and apply it concretely. So one of the ways we can do this is we can think about plans as outlines of what are the tasks and what are going to happen. And we can look at individual items in the outline and we can ask, are these concrete? Are these directly actionable? And so one way to think about this is we start off with an outline and we keep expanding or iterating on the outline, adding bullets and sub-bullets until we get a plan that's very actionable by Code Interpreter. So what I'm going to do to help make this happen, in this case, its plan was pretty good, but I'm going to just ask it to take some additional detail. I'm going to say, first, make your plan more concrete by expanding each bullet into 2 to 3 additional steps. Now notice I'm actually kind of mixing imperative and not imperative. So I'm basically doing some human direction here. I talked about how we're going to mix these things, right? It's given me the plan. Now I'm using my human knowledge to decide how to edit the plan, and I'm planning in my head how I'm going to tell it to edit its plan. Complex, we could also have the AI plan how to modify its own plan, but we don't have to go there right now. I'm just going to tell it specific changes that I want. I want it to make its I want to make your plan more concrete by expanding each bullet into 2 to 3 additional steps. Each step should be concrete and actionable by either you or Python code that you write. Create the steps, create the step-by-step actionable plan. Now, 2 things here. One, I'm telling it, break your plan down further. And we don't have to go, way down the rabbit hole with this. I'm just saying 2 to 3 additional steps. Give it a little more detail underneath each action item. And we want each action to be really concrete and actionable right here. That's another kind of nice piece of this, is we want it to get us to things that we can do very concretely, actions that it can take. We're doing one other thing. We're differentiating between what it can do, meaning code interpreter, and ChatGPT or GPT-4, the model itself, versus things that can be done in Python code that it writes. And then I say, create the step-by-step actionable plan. So I'm giving it feedback on its plan. I'm telling it how to refine it. 1, 2 to 3 additional steps. 2, I want it concrete and actionable. 3, I want it to think about and differentiate what it's going to do versus what Python's going to do. I want it to plan which one is the appropriate one to use for each task, and then I'm going to tell it to go ahead. So here's what it does. It breaks it down. Now we notice understanding the content was a solo item. Originally, it was just a paragraph. And so now it's actually breaking it down into sub-steps, and it's more actionable. Load the transcript. Identify the overall tone and context. Identify the participants. That could be interesting. Identify key points and themes. Drafting the blog post. And it's breaking these things down into additional steps. And they're more actionable. They're less sort of text. Now, it's not a perfect representation of what was there before, but it's breaking the plan down, and it's giving us more actionable things. And we could iterate and refine on this, but the key point is it's building its plan. Now, we get down to a point and it says, once this plan is executed, the result will be a blog post and a series of social media posts ready to publish. If you agree with this plan, I can start working on step 1 right away. So I say, please proceed. And you see what it's doing. It's now executing its plan. And so it's starting to go through, it's looking at its plan and starting to execute the plan. And so this is an example of one way that you can tackle the problem. Now, I didn't go all the way through this example because in most examples, you're going to go back and forth. You're going to have it plan, it's going to do some things. You're going to realize that maybe the plan wasn't fully fleshed out. And this happens if a human's planning, right? If you're going in and doing some planning, the plan may not go as expected. You may just stop and say, okay, well, we're going to change plan here a little bit. We're going to refine based on what we're seeing happening. You should expect to do that with the AI planning too. Sometimes you might get lucky and it may do exactly the right thing from the beginning. The plan may be perfect, but many times it's not going to be. And so as you see it producing things, you may need to stop generation and just say, hey, wait a minute, let's refine the plan this way. Or you may have it fully generate, you may look at it and you may say, okay, we need to change one thing about the goals. I didn't tell you this about the goals, and it may need to reformulate its plan. Or we may take individual outputs that it's produced with its plan and we may refine them manually. But this is an example of going through and having it build the plan and then refine its own plan. Because what we want to do is we want to take these plans, think of them as outlines of what's going to be done, and we want to try to break them down into enough granularity that it's pretty clear what's going to happen and how to accomplish all of the individual tasks. Now, sometimes our plans can grow too big and be too complex and too hard for code interpreter to follow. And in those cases, we may have to go and take individual parts of the plan and save them and provide them separately to code interpreter. And that's another reason why having this sort of hierarchical breakdown where we have our top level action items and then we have sub actions beneath them, and we can go and store individual pieces of the plan, and we can go and take those individual pieces and we can say, okay, code interpreter, just go and do this part of the plan. And then we can go back and get another piece of the plan, and we can say, now go do this part of the plan. And we can help deal with some of these issues that it's not going to remember everything, it's not going to be able to follow perfectly necessarily. And so by doing this hierarchical breakdown, we can help it solve problems. We can help it generate the plans, but then we can also take those hierarchical pieces and provide it to it at different points in time.